estate prices that are twice as expensive. And those are just the things we know about. And so I would say the leftist tilt in Canada over the last 9 years has been a much worse disaster than we even know yet. And now I can understand why.
Starmer a few times.
Yeah.
I did him for my Life Story show, which is like a 2.5-hour interview. And I think, probably like you probably believe, that if you interview someone for 2.5 hours, they can't hide the entire time.
Keir Starmer's life story is more tragic than you might think. The Labour leader's journey to the top of British politics is paved with personal heartbreak and loss.
It was interesting to watch him change positions, and now he's at, I think he now says 99% of women. He is somebody who drifted out to the far left in the Jeremy Corbyn era, said he thought Corbyn would make a good prime minister. That's a blotch on his thought.
From watching his mother suffer from a debilitating illness to losing his childhood home in a devastating fire, Starmer's resilience has been tested time and time again. But how has this shaped the man who now leads the opposition? Piers Morgan's explosive interview reveals the hidden depths of a politician often criticized for lacking emotion. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
Yeah.
You're going to work out really what they're like. I think he's fundamentally a decent guy.
Yeah.
I think he's a kind of regular guy. There's nothing particularly flamboyant or special about him.
Keir Starmer's childhood was far from ordinary. While most kids were out playing, young Keir was grappling with a reality that would shape his entire life. His mother, Jo Starmer, was battling Still's disease, a rare and debilitating condition that causes severe inflammation throughout the body. The impact on the Starmer family was profound. Jo's illness meant frequent hospital visits, constant pain, and an ever-present cloud of uncertainty. For Keir, it meant growing up fast. He wasn't just a son, he became a caregiver, shouldering responsibilities far beyond his years. Imagine a young boy watching his mother struggle to perform simple tasks, her joints swollen and painful. The emotional toll was immense. Keir had to balance his own needs with the constant worry about his mother's health. This experience forged a deep sense of empathy in him, but it also created a complex emotional landscape that he would navigate for years to come. Family dynamics shift dramatically when chronic illness enters the picture. Roles blur, and children often find themselves in adult positions. For Keir, this meant developing a heightened sense of responsibility and a keen awareness of others' needs. But it also meant sacrificing parts of his own childhood, a loss that's not easily quantified. The long-term effects of such an experience are profound. Studies show that children who grow up with chronically ill parents often develop increased resilience and empathy, but they can also struggle with anxiety and feelings of helplessness. For Keir, this childhood crucible seems to have instilled a deep-seated drive to help others and to fight against injustice. This early hardship fundamentally shaped Starmer's worldview. The daily struggles he witnessed likely fueled his later passion for public service and his commitment to the National Health Service. His mother's battle with Still's disease wasn't just a personal tragedy, it became a lens through which he viewed society's responsibilities to its most vulnerable members. As we transition to the next chapter of Starmer's life, it's clear that the weight of his mother's illness didn't crush him, it forged him. But how would these early experiences influence his relationship with his father? A man of few words and many expectations. That's where our story takes us next. Rodney Starmer, a skilled toolmaker, embodied the silent struggle of many working-class men in post-war Britain. His hands built the nation, yet society often overlooked his contribution. This paradox shaped not only Rodney's life, but also his relationship with his son, Keir Starmer, in ways that would echo through decades. The Starmer household was a place where words were scarce, but expectations loomed large. Rodney took immense pride in his craft, meticulously shaping metal into precision tools. Yet this pride was often overshadowed by a society that seemed to value white-collar work above all else. Keir, observing his father's quiet dedication, absorbed a powerful lesson about the dignity of labor and the sting of societal indifference. The emotional distance between father and son was palpable. In working-class families of that era, men often struggled to express affection or praise. For Rodney, love was shown through providing for his family and instilling a strong work ethic. But for young Keir, navigating this unspoken language of care was a challenge that would shape his emotional landscape. This communication pattern, common in many working-class households, created a complex dynamic. Keir, already shouldering responsibilities due to his mother's illness, found himself striving for a paternal approval that was rarely verbalized. The silence between them spoke volumes, filled with unasked questions and unexpressed emotions. As Keir grew older, the tension between his father's world and his own aspirations became more pronounced. He was drawn to academia and law, paths that seemed worlds apart from the shop floor his father knew so well. Yet it was precisely this contrast that fueled Keir's growing sense of social injustice. In a rare moment of expressed pride, Rodney once acknowledged his son's achievements. This breakthrough, though fleeting, illuminated the deep respect that had always existed beneath the surface. It was a turning point that allowed Keir to reconcile his background with his ambitions. Keir Starmer would carry this complex inheritance into his political career. His father's silent struggle became a driving force, shaping his commitment to valuing all forms of work and addressing social inequalities. As he rose through the ranks of the Labour Party, Keir never forgot the lessons learned in the quiet of his childhood home, where actions spoke louder than words, and injustice was felt before it was named. Just as Keir began to find his footing in life, fate dealt him a series of cruel blows. The losses he endured would break many, but for Starmer, they became the catalyst for an unexpected transformation. How did personal tragedy propel him towards a political awakening? Keir Starmer's journey into politics wasn't born from ambition alone, but from the crucible of personal loss. As his mother Jo's health deteriorated, Starmer found himself grappling with the harsh realities of a failing healthcare system. Watching her battle Still's disease, he witnessed firsthand the struggles faced by families dealing with chronic illness. This experience planted the seeds of his commitment to public service. But fate wasn't finished testing Starmer's resolve. Shortly after becoming an MP, he faced the devastating loss of his mother. In a cruel twist, this personal tragedy coincided with a moment that should have been one of professional triumph. Instead of celebrating his new role, Starmer was thrust into a whirlwind of grief and responsibility. The hits kept coming. While Keir's father Rodney was hospitalized, their family home was consumed by fire. Starmer recounted the devastation. In that moment, everything they had, everything they cared about, was gone. The flames not only destroyed their possessions, but obliterated precious family heirlooms, including his mother's wedding ring. These tangible links to his past were reduced to ashes, symbolizing the profound upheaval in Starmer's life. The emotional toll was immense. Starmer found himself shielding his father from the full extent of their loss, unable to tell him about the destruction of their home and the death of the family dog. This burden of concealment added another layer of complexity to his grief. Yet, it's often in our darkest moments that we find our true calling. For Starmer, these personal tragedies didn't break him. They fueled a burning desire to create change. Research shows that individuals who experience multiple losses often develop a heightened sense of empathy and social responsibility. This aligns perfectly with Starmer's trajectory, as his hardships ignited a passion for social justice and public service. The symbolism of lost family heirlooms played a significant role in shaping Starmer's identity and approach to leadership. These losses represented not just the physical destruction of his family's past, but also the weight of their legacy, a legacy he felt compelled to honor through his actions. As Starmer transitioned into his early political career, he carried with him the lessons learned through adversity. His personal experiences with loss and injustice became the bedrock of his political convictions, driving him to fight for a fairer society. But how would these deeply personal motivations translate into his role as a public figure? That's where our story takes us next. Keir Starmer's journey from personal tragedy to political leadership reveals a man of hidden depths. Behind the polished exterior lies a story of resilience, shaped by a mother's illness and a father's silent struggle. These experiences forged Starmer's commitment to social justice and the NHS, driving his political ambitions. But can this private passion translate into public appeal? Starmer's challenge lies in connecting with voters who crave authenticity. His measured demeanor, often criticized as lacking emotion, masks a complex individual molded by loss and adversity. As we reflect on Starmer's story, we're forced to question our expectations of political leaders. Should we demand performative displays of emotion or value the quiet determination born from personal hardship? Starmer's leadership offers a different model, one of understated conviction rather than bombastic charm. The future of British politics under Starmer's guidance remains uncertain. Will voters embrace a leader whose strength lies in resilience rather than rhetoric? Only time will tell if Starmer's personal journey can resonate with a nation hungry for authentic leadership and meaningful change.